So in this video, we're going over the Quiz 2 review for Semester 2, okay? So first it says, Jack bought an automatic water bottle feeder for his cat. A diagram of the bottle is shown below. What is the maximum amount of water that the bottle can hold? So we're trying to find the volume of the bottle, and it includes a cylinder. That's this part up here, and then it also includes a cone, right? So we're going to find the volume of our cylinder first. So to do that, we're going to do pi r. Oh, wait a minute. Do I have r? We have the diameter. So if the diameter is 6, then our radius is equal to 3, right? So we're going to do pi times our radius, which is 3 squared, times our height, which is 8.5. Okay? So you do all that, and you get 240.33. And I'm going to multiply by pi. And the reason I'm doing that, look at all these answers over here. Is there pi in any of those answers, guys? Nope, you're right. So I'm going to multiply by pi, okay? So when I get my answer here, I get 240.33, okay? Then I'm going to find the volume of my cone, and that's at the bottom, right? So once again, our radius is 3. So a cone is pi times our radius, 3 squared, times our height. And wait a minute, do I have the height of the cone? Well, look right here. So if that's the top of the cone and we had 8.5 feet up there, we're going to do 12.5 feet minus 8.5. So doesn't that mean from here down is 4 inches, y'all? So we're going to multiply that times 4, and then we're going to divide this whole thing by 3. Because remember, if a cone comes to a point, we're going to divide it by 3. So here again, do all of that in your calculator. So when I did that, I got 37.7. So then you're going to add those two pieces together, aren't you? Indeed. So you're going to get 278.03. 278.03 is C. All right, the next one says, given the volume of a cone is 12 pi centimeters cubed, and the height is 9, what's the radius of the cone? So again, we've got the volume of the cone, so we're going to say 12 pi is our volume, and that's equal to, remember the volume of a cone is pi r squared times the height, it says is 9, and we're dividing all that by 3, right? Okay, so I'm going to multiply, well, actually, you know what? I see that I have pi on both sides, so I'm going to cancel that out. Then I'm going to multiply both sides by 3. So that gives me 36 over here, and that's equal to r squared times 9, right? So now I'm going to divide both sides by 9. What is 36 divided by 9? It's 4. So 4 is equal to r squared, so then what do I have to do to solve this? Take the square root of both sides, right? So r is equal to 2. All right, then it says, what is the volume of a square pyramid with a base edge of 5 centimeters and a height of 6 centimeters? So we got a square pyramid, okay? So that means my length and my width of my base, 5 and 5, right? Because it says that's the base edge. And then the height is 6 inches. So we're doing length times width times height. But remember, when it's a pyramid, we're dividing that by 3, right? So we're going to do 5 times 5 times 6 divided by 3, and that was 50 centimeters cubed. All right, our next one says find the volume of the pyramid to the right. Okay, so here again, we got length, width, and height. So we're going to go 6 times 9 times 12. And again, we're dividing all that by 3 because it's a pyramid. So y'all use your formula sheets, okay? So when I did that, I got 216, and this one is inches cubed. So number 5 says, given the volume of a cylinder is 108.26, and the diameter is 5, what's the height of the cylinder round to the nearest hundredth? So this time, again, we're going to use our cylinder formula, but we know that the volume, it says, is 108.26. That's equal to pi times our, and this is, it says the diameter is 5 inches. So that means our radius is equal to half that, right? So that's 2.5. So that means we're going to do 2.5 squared times h, right? This is a cylinder, so we don't have to divide it by anything, right? Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do, let me see what I did on my paper here. Let me look. So I went ahead and squared this 2.5. So I did pi times 6.25 h equals 108.26. Now, look here. Can't you divide this by pi times 6.25? Divide this by pi times 6.25. You can. And if you put that directly in the calculator, you get 5.51 inches. Okay? The next one says, given the volume of a hemisphere is 34 pi. What is the diameter of the hemisphere? Ooh, a couple tricky things here, right? Okay. So first of all, it's a hemisphere. So we're going to use the formula 2/3 pi r cubed, right? That's a hemisphere. And it says that the volume is 34 pi, right? So notice again, our pi's are going to cancel out. How do we get rid of a 2/3? What is the reciprocal of 2/3? You guys got it. 3/2, right? So we're going to multiply that by both sides. So that's now gone, yes. So we're left with r to the third is equal to, and we're really doing, and you could do that again, right, directly in your calculator, can't you? So 3/2. So I got 51. Yep, wait, yeah, 51. Okay? So now, the other question is, and we did this yesterday, okay? So how do we get rid of a third power? We take it to the 1/3 power, right? So we're taking this to the 1/3 power. And when you do 51 to the 1/3 power, you get 3.71. So your answer here is B. Oh, and let me also say, you can always reverse engineer these guys, okay? So you can always put all 4 of those answers in and see which one gives you 34 pi. So don't forget that, okay? So then the next one says, find the segment length indicated. Assume that the lines which appear to be tangent are tangent. So do you remember that when you have a radius here and you have a tangent here, they form a what kind of angle? A right angle. Y'all remember that? So we can do a squared plus b squared equals c squared, and that's our hypotenuse, right? So we're going to go at question mark squared plus 7.5 squared is equal to 12.5 squared, okay? So when I did that, I got question mark squared equals 56.25, plus, sorry about that, y'all, equals 156.25. Then we're going to subtract this 56.25 from both sides. So that means question mark squared equals 100. Y'all, what's the square root of 100? So question mark is equal to 10. Okay. Number 8 says, find the segment length indicated. Assume that lines which appear to be tangent are tangent again. So here again, we've got, there's our radius. Here's our tangent. Right here's our right angle. Now this time it's only asking us for this portion right here, okay? So we're going to go ahead and find the whole thing, this whole part, and listen, this is what you should know, that if this radius is 6, then that radius is 6. Y'all see that? Okay? So we're going to go ahead and solve it. 8 squared plus 6 squared, and y'all all notice that this is our hypotenuse, right? Equals, and I'm just going to call this whole thing out here x, okay? X squared. Because then whenever we find it, we're going to subtract 6 from it to get our question mark. So that's going to be 64 plus 36 equals x squared. That's 100 equals x squared. So take the square root of both sides again. So x is equal to 10, okay? So now that means this whole length over here is 10, right? So to find question mark, aren't we going to go 10 minus 6? Yep, and that equals our 4, okay? All right, number 9 says, which statement best describes how the volume of the square-based pyramid is related to the volume of a cube? So we've talked about this. So the pyramid, how does it relate to the volume of the cube? So a pyramid is 1/3 the volume of the cube, right? So it's definitely not 1/2. The volume of the square-based pyramid is 1/3 the volume of a cube. I think it's B. Let's keep checking. The volume of square-based pyramid is 3 times. No, that would be the actual cube is 3 times, the volume of square-based pyramid 2 times. Nope. So it definitely is B, okay? Because remember, a pyramid, you always divide by 3, right? And if it had the same volume in the cube, then the cube would be 3 times the volume of the pyramid, right? So that's the relationship. The pyramid's 1/3. the cube is 3 times. So a cone and a cylinder have the same radius and height. If the volume of the cylinder is x pi meters cubed, what is the volume of the cone? Okay, so this says the volume of the cylinder is x pi, right, meters cubed. What is the volume of the cone? Well, don't we just divide that by 3 to get the volume of the cone? So which one of those looks like it? Definitely x over 3 doesn't have the pi, right? This one has x over 3 pi, so it is B, y'all. It's not just x over 3 because that means it would be equal, and it's definitely not 3 times. If it was the cylinder, it would be 3 times, okay? All right, number 11 says, find the measure of angle ABE. ABE, okay. So remember, this one is arc plus arc equals that angle, okay? So we're going to go 65 plus 37 and divide that by 2, right? So that's going to be, where's my paper? I already did the math. Yeah, that's going to be 51 if I just do that. So that, what is that? That's 12,9,102 divided by 2. So yeah, that's 51 degrees, y'all. But that is, again, remember, that's this angle right here. This angle's 51, y'all got me? And that's not the angle they're asking us for. They're asking us for the angle above it, right? So those two angles form a line. So we're going to do 180 minus 51. And that's equal to 129 degrees. All right, this last two. So this next one says, find the missing angle. So notice here we have our inside arc, but what do we not have? Our outside arc, right? So how are we going to find that outside arc? We're going to take 360 and subtract from it the 125, okay? So when we do that, I get 235. So that means this one out here is 235 degrees. Y'all got me? Because that's what we got when we did this up here. Oops, sorry, 235, okay? So now we do outside minus inside divided by 2 equals the angle, right? So we're going to go 235 minus 125, and we're going to divide that by 2. 235 minus 125 is 110, and then we divide that by 2, and that is 55 degrees. Okay? So here's our last one. It says, find the area of the non-shaded region. Okay. So it's asking us for this area out here. You guys got to read, because if it says shaded, then we're looking for shaded. If we're looking for non-shaded, we're looking for non-shaded. So to find this area, we're going to take 360 and we're going to subtract from it 60, right? So that means the measure of this out here is 300 degrees, isn't it? So that's equal to theta. And what's r? It's right there, okay? So we're going to do pi times our radius, which is 8 squared, times our 300 degrees. And then we're dividing that by 360. Now, once again, do you notice there's pi in all these answers? So that means when we're not going to multiply by pi because pi's in the answers, okay? So when I do this, and remember, we're going to put this, use math print mode if you're using the TI-30s. And you're just going to do 8 squared times 300 divided by 360 and put it in n over d, just like that, and then push enter, and it's going to simplify it for you. And this is what we got.